Well, welcome to another edition of Te Akau TV. We're joined by Te Akau Racing Manager Reece Trumper and a very special guest this morning in Imperatriz Reece, 10-time Group 1 winner and darling of the turf in Australia and New Zealand. Nice to have the girl back home on home soil.
Thanks, Hazy. Yeah, look, she's in great order. She's arrived nice and safely. She's running around the paddock with Captured by Love, and she's having a great time. She's obviously very full of herself still, but the main thing is she's safe and sound, and we've done what's best for the horse, and she did us absolutely proud all season.
Fantastic. Well, she's given us so many special moments on the track, and I know she means a lot to a lot of the team here in New Zealand and also more recently in Australia, particularly Jason, her strapper, Laura, her track work rider, Ben, the assistant trainer there in the Cranbourne barn, of course, Mark, Sam, and of course you, David, Karen, and the wider team as well. So she's an absolute megastar for the team and also our owners. So credit to you, Imperatriz. And I guess just while you're there, Reece, I'm sure David would love everyone to see how green the farm is. You might want to scan around a paddock for us.
Yeah, look, as you can see, she's in a lovely paddock. Plenty of grass around. Dave said he's never had so much grass at this time of the year, and it's weed-free as well, so the horses do incredibly well on it. Imperatriz wouldn't want to be out in here too long. She explodes pretty quick, so the horses do incredibly well, and that's why we have such a good start to the season every time we start, because the horses spell so well here.
Excellent. Well, thanks for showing her off to us, Reece, and we'll catch you very shortly to run through the weekend runners there across Australia and New Zealand. We'll catch you shortly. Well, Reece, you're back now in the warmth of the house. How's the weather tracking outside leading into the weekend?
Looks like it's going to be a very wet weekend, so the horses will need their flippers on at Otaki and Riccarton, but they all present as really nice chances, which is a good thing.
Excellent. Well, we'll have a look at some of those fields shortly. But just quickly, you're over in Sydney earlier in the week at the Sydney Easter sales and some really nice purchases from the team there. Do you want to just touch on the last week very briefly, Reece?
So David, Marcus Corbin and myself, we went over to Sydney Easter sales early last week and we inspected every horse in the catalogue and we came up with 6 horses that we thought were the best in the catalogue that would fit in the Te Akau training regime, and we're happy with the purchases and the prices we paid for them. The Schnitzel English Colt was a standout, as well as the Schnitzel Silence Edition. It was an absolute ripper. Arrowfield obviously do a wonderful job at Easter sale. They really target that sale. And the Fastnet Rock filly that we brought off Newgate Farm was class. We've obviously had that much luck with Fastnet Rock, having already 3 Group 1 winners off the top of my head by him and plenty of other black type performers. And to pick up a Frankel and a Ridden Tycoon was also a massive help as well. And obviously the Schnitzel out of Pippi. Pippi was a wonderful race mare. To pick her up for the Kiora team, it's going to be a massive thrill to have her racing out of our Cranbourne stable.
Excellent. Well, just quickly, the winner of the the one winner of the week that's been was an absolute monumentous one and Move to Strike, taking out the Group 1 courtesy Ford Manawatu Sires Project Stakes there at Trentham, and boy did he do that well.
Wonderful training effort by Sam and Mark. Obviously things didn't go to plan at Mattera. We just turned the page. We gave him a quiet trial at Taupo where he was really good, and he just was ready for 1400. He's out of the same cross as Imperatriz, out of the Charmadale mare, so it is a Group 1 cross. He was a lovely horse when David brought him at the Magic Millions 14 months ago, and the way he's just kept on improving is just phenomenal. Really happy with the way he just relaxed, sat out the back, and then an explosive turn of foot. It was just great to see.
Excellent. Now, Reece, we're going to have a quick look at the local cards here. Otaki of Riccarton on Saturday, Te Rapa on Sunday, and we'll briefly touch on some of the Australian runners, which are spread far and wide there at Morfettville, Bendigo, Ramwick, and there's one runner there at Terang on Sunday, I believe, as well. But we'll start there at Riccarton. In race number 1, where the Rohan Madu Trust fundraising now maiden 1200. Time is King, draws barrier 2 with Warren Kennedy on board.
He's got to the South Island in good order. Look, the wet track just tripped him up at Mattera. Luckily, his races early on in the day, he's going to get a soft run in transit. Warren knows the horse. He gets on with him well. We'll take the blinkers off. Shadow Roll goes on. Should race close enough to the speed, and hopefully he can pick up a victory because he's always been there or thereabouts, and he does deserve one.
Race 3, the Angus Meets Open Handicap, 1200. Caravella draws barrier 11. Warren Kennedy on board.
She's flying ever since she got to the South Island. She's just grown another leg. It is obviously her biggest test up to open grade, but we'll be able to see where she's at, and she's going to get a nice run in transit from that draw. It probably will be the place to be in the track. Warren's ridden there on race day before. The form around her in the North Island was really good, so expect her to be right in the finish.
Race 4 there, the listed Riccarton Park Function Centre Welcome Stakes. Nuclear Zor's been on a rich vein of form since heading south. 2 starts for 2 wins, and Discretion Rules hasn't been too far behind him, placing second to him last up.
Nuclear Zor obviously is going to be very hard to beat. He brings the right form. He looks like a very special horse, so expect him to be right on the finish no matter what the circumstances are. And Discretion Rules, the blinkers went on last start, and he was really good. He chased to the line gamely. His work's been great since then. It's a good opportunity for him to pick up some black type. Alabama Express is obviously ESI that is absolutely flying.
And 4 runners there in the listed New Zealand Bloodstock Insurance Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies, set weight conditions over the mile. A lot of Northerners have kind of turned up down in this field, but we're headlined by Sense of Timing, who's been down the south for a while.
She continues to race honest races. From the draw, it does make it a little sticky. She does tend to get back in her races, which isn't ideal, but Riccarton's got a long, roomy straight, so if she can get to the outside, expect her to be right in the finish.
And Mezzicado's been there or thereabouts in recent runs.
She loves Riccarton. She had the line stronger than anything last start. From the good draw, she can tend to miss the kick a bit, but we'll do everything we can to make sure we can use that draw and be in the first half of the field. Obviously, the 1,600 metres at the first time is a question mark, but she's bred to do it, and she looks a really nice chance.
And good to see Tranquilla break maidens there at Ashburton for Cambridge Stud last up.
She's going the right way. She just keeps on improving. The wet weather certainly wouldn't worry her. She loves a bit of moisture in the track. From the draw, it does make it tough, but she'll get back. She'll get to the outside at the top of the straight, and she does have an explosive turn of foot on her day.
And right down the bottom of the page there, Lady of Court draws barrier 9 with Jasmine Fawcett on board.
She's a filly that's had no luck her last 2. From the draw, she should get into a spot midfield, 1 off. The 1,600 won't worry her off her pedigree. She looks a nice chance with some luck. With it. If you put a line through her last 2, she'd be going into this race a big chance.
And race 7 there, the race sponsor named after a friend of ours and a Tiaka owner in Angus Shaw. So happy birthday to you, Shawsy. The Angus Shawsy Shaw 30th Fizzer, rating 65, benchmark 1,600. Hopefully we can get a win there with Bellamio for Angus and the team.
He keeps running honest races. The blinkers go off, shadow roll on. 1,600 metres should be ideal for him the way he races. From the draw, he should get into a nice enough spot. He does tend to get back, which isn't ideal, but Warren Kennedy will get the most out of him.
Excellent. Race 9 there, the Racecourse Hotel and Motor Lodge, rating 75, benchmark. Fellini draws barrier 5. Warren Kennedy takes the mount. Sorcher's on the ballot, as is Caravella.
Fellini's going well. His trial was good. It showed us signs of the old Fellini. From the draw, he'll get a lovely run in transit. Obviously, 1,400 metres off a freshen up is probably not ideal. 1,200 would have been better suited for him, but he is a horse that has the ability. He obviously ran 3rd in a Crack a Million, so if he can bring that form back, he's definitely a winning chance. And Sorcher, whose split sectionals last start were excellent. She just gets so far off them, but from that draw, you'd expect her to be in the first half of the field, but we really need a scratching.
Excellent. Over to Otaki there on Saturday. We kick off in race number 2. The McMillanequins feeds 2-year-old. Set weight and penalties 1,300. Star Shadow, some nice trial performances there in the placings in the trials by Reliable Man. You'd think she might get out and trip a bit.
Exactly, and the wet weather coming won't harm her, being Reliable Man. Obviously, drawing barrier 1's not the most ideal thing, but she will have the rail to hug. Woodham Pin takes them out. He's riding incredibly well for the stable. She's a filly that's trolled up really nicely, so expect her to be running a really nice race.
And race 6, the listed Hawke's Bay Cup there, Elegant Lady, didn't have all things go to favour there in the deep south, but comes further north there for her next run. Open draws barrier 8 with Craig Girls on board.
She's going really well. Obviously, the heavy track would be a bit of a concern for her, but she's a filly that loves getting up over ground. Craig Girls is a good, strong rider, and she's near on the minimum, which brings her into this race a lot. Obviously, no luck last time out, but she'll get all favours from that draw, and she's going into the race with the right form lines.
And race 7 there, the listed City of Napier Sprint Open Handicap 1200. I know it's a horse you've had plenty of time for over the years. Race strikes quite a competitive field here.
She does, but it's a nice opportunity for her to pick up some black type, and the wet weather won't worry her. She was game running second off a freshen up last start at Terang. From the draw, she'll get into a nice spot. Woodamoo pin nearly on the minimum, brings her into it a lot. But it is a strong field, but she does deserve her spot, and it is a good opportunity for her to pick up black type for her connections for breeding purposes.
Race 8 there, the New World OTI Handicap, Melbourne Bay there for Fortuna Racing, draws barrier 11 with Jessica Allen on board.
Good to see him back in some sort of form last start at Mattera. It was a good second. The wetter the better for him. The 3 kgs off will be ideal. Jessica Allen's riding incredibly well for the stable, so we're happy to have her aboard him. But he definitely will be saturated by that part of the day and loose, so they will be coming out wide. Whether it's too wet, we're not sure, but he is a horse that does enjoy it.
Excellent. And over to Australia there, we kick off in Morphettville, the Group 3 RN Irwin Stakes. Skew Whiff was in some pretty competitive fields earlier on in the campaign. Strikes another pretty competitive field here in Adelaide.
She does. Obviously, she just did it a bit upside down in the Newmarket Handicap with the blinkers on for the first time. But her form before that was really good. Her run in the Oakley Plate was incredible up the inside. Probably just didn't get all favours with that ride. But she goes into the race in good order. Ben Gleeson's absolutely thrilled with the way she's heading into it. Obviously, she does need to find her form that she had when winning on Melbourne Cup Day, but she does have the class to do it.
Excellent. And over to Bendigo there. I spoke to Ben earlier, and he was of the view that Prosmetic is going very well going into the race here at Bendigo on Saturday.
Had a hurdle trial last week, and he jumped really well. He's going the right way. The 2,400 metres will be ideal for him. He's just a horse that loves to get up over ground. He's a beautiful horse. He's drawn nice. He does tick a lot of boxes, and Dean Yendall was good enough to win the stakes race for us last season on Ballon Rouge, so we're happy to have him aboard.
And certainly takes her place there for Waikato Stud in the Bendigo. Guinea's unfortunately drawn very wide there, but needs the run potentially before heading over for an Australia campaign. Can we say we can put a line through her last start at the Valley? Probably didn't handle the track there.
You could say that, and she went on the Wednesday. It is a big trip for a 3-year-old filly. She's unbeaten at the 1,400 metres, though. And Bendigo is a track that does help horses that can swoop out wide, so she will get back from that draw, but she'll be charging late. She's got an explosive turn of foot, and if she can bring that form when winning the Mufasa, she'd be right in this.
And over to Ramwick, the Group 1, the Star Australian Oaks. Quintessa flies the flag for the stable there. Obviously runs into the smart filly in Orchestral, but was really game going down narrowly to Antrim Coast, who was second in the Derby in New Zealand. So some really good form lines going into the Oaks there on Saturday.
Quintessa is flying. Obviously, in the spring, she was good enough to knock off Orchestral. So that's got to be good enough form heading into the Oaks. Obviously, the 2,400 metres is a big question mark, but she's by Seamus Award. They do tend to get up over ground. She does relax beautifully in her races. She just had a few issues not go her way at Moonee Valley last start when getting galloped on and losing a hind shoe, but she's bounced out of that well. Work's been good. She'll get a nice run in transit from that draw. Not being an overly big field is probably ideal for her. They won't go overly hard. But Orchestral obviously is a freak and that breathes different air. But anything can happen. It is a race.
Excellent. And in the Group 1, Grain Shaker Vodka Queen of the Turf, another Group 1, Campionessa gets a chance here in an Australian Group 1. Of course, she ran in the Australian Cup maybe a season ago in the autumn there. But she's going really well going into this campaign. I thought her run was really good the other day at the Valley, coming wide and running home really nicely.
It was. She obviously had no luck whatsoever. Hope he gave her a peach of a run, but had nowhere to go when he did pull her out wide. She really let down strongly. So she's going the right way. She brings the right form lines into it. I think a mile is her peak distance. She does have an explosive turn of foot. I always go back to when she won the Ritual Mile at Te Rapa. It was explosive that day. And obviously it is going to be hard. It is a tough field. Zugotcha looks extremely hard to beat. But from the draw, she's going to be in a spot where she has no trouble in front of her. And we do expect her to run a really bold race.
Excellent. Well, let's look at the runners there at Te Rapa on Saturday, and we kick off in race number 3, the 5 Stags Leamington 2-year-old maiden. Viva Glam, the filly by Savabeel, draws barrier 9 with Wiramu Pin on board, and Canatrice, a nice trialist by Microphone, draws barrier 8 with Warren Kennedy on board.
Viva Glam was really good first up. Obviously, she just got back, but she ran home really well. So getting onto a better surface will help her. From the draw, she's probably going to get back midfield, just a tad worse. But she's gone the right way since then. Canatrice, obviously the trials have been really good. She is an exciting filly by Microphone, so we're happy to have her at the races. From the draw, it does make it a little sticky for her, but she will just be able to relax and get herself into her own rhythm, but expect her to be right on the finish.
And race 4 there, the fresh choice at Leamington 1400 open handicap freeze frame, draws barrier 7 with Warren Kennedy on board.
Get him back to the track that he likes, Te Rapa. I just don't think he's a wet tracker anymore. From the draw, he'll get back. He loves to get back in his races and relax because he does have an explosive turn of foot. But he's definitely gone the right way since his last start, and expect him to bounce back on a track he likes.
Race 5, the 3-year-old set weight and penalties 1200. Valentine turns up for Windsor Park stud there, draws barrier 8 with Wiramu Pin on board.
He's going really well. Obviously, it was a good victory first up at Terang after a break. It's very stiff last preparation, not to go through the grades a little quicker. He is a big, scopy type of horse. From the draw, we'll push forward. He loves to be up on speed. As long as he races well, he could be a horse that ends up in the Cambridge Breeders in 2 weeks' time.
And race 8 there, the BCD Group 1200, rating 75 benchmark at Quist for Pencaro. Draws barrier 17. I'm going to need a bit of luck from there, but has Wiramu Pin on board.
Unlikely runner.
Francy for Hanui, barrier 16, Warren Kennedy.
She's going really well. She's obviously had a freshen up, but she's a filly that's got a lot of class, and we do expect to go through the grades a little more than what she has already. From the draw, she will have to go back. She'll be on the outside. But once she gets to 1,400 metres, she'll be winning again. She'll be running on really strongly in the finish. She's an exciting filly for sure.
Race 7 there, the North End Law and BBL Lawyers 1,600, rating 75 benchmark. Pop the Bubbles, draws barrier 5. Vinnie Colgan takes them out.
She goes really well at Te Rapa. Her last starts have been there. Obviously, when running second first up, last preparation was explosive. She does need wet ground, which she will cop on Sunday. But she's going the right way. Her trials have been good, but expect her to just need one run.
And Xantabulous, just being a 2-race winner, very well weighted here with 54 kilos and Wiramu Pin on her back.
She's an exciting mare. Have a lot of time for her. She just doesn't have luck go her way sometimes, but in a smallish field, she'll just be back midfield and hopefully get to the outside. She's raced well at Te Rapa in the past, and expect her to run a really bold race.
Excellent. And I believe there's one to keep an eye over in Terang there on Sunday in the Terang Cup and Midnight Blue Race.
He's going really well. Obviously, his first up run the other day was incredible. He snuck through the inside. He just got held up when we didn't need him to, but the step up and trip will help him. He obviously is a Perth Cup winner, so he does have the right form lines, and if he can recapture that form, I'm sure he'll be right in the finish. But credit to Bark and Ben. They've done a wonderful job with him.
Excellent. Well, next week, I believe we're back to Ellerslie and Riccarton, and there'll also be a number of runners over in Australia as well. But outside of that race, do you have a best bet for the weekend?
Nucleazor.
Nucleazor, there we go. Get some runs on the board with Nucleazor down in Riccarton. But thanks for your time today, Reece, and thanks for showing us the lovely mare there as well. And have a good weekend. Good luck for your runners, and we'll catch you again sometime soon.
Your racing excitement, join Team Te Akau. It's easy, fun and affordable to be part of New Zealand's #1 stable, and we're now in Australia too. We've won more races, more group races and more prize money than any other stable, nearly $10 million in Australia and New Zealand alone. Imagine racing horses like Imperatriz, Campionessa. Whether you're a first-time owner or seasoned pro, at teakauracing.com, go the Tangerine.